Minister of Water and Sanitation, Phemi Majotdina, has assured that there will be full accountability for the 53 billion rand allocated for the implementation of Phase 2 of the Lesotho Highlands Water Project. South Africa's Minister of Water and Sanitation, Phemi Majotdina, is in Lesotho on an oversight visit. Majotdina is visiting Phase 2 of the Lesotho Highlands Water Project. While the project has admittedly fallen behind schedule with its key project components, the Polihali Transfer Tunnel, 48%, is complete at this stage. The more than 2 billion rand Senqu Bridge is nearing completion. The South African delegation, together with their Lesotho counterparts, have visited Phase 2 of the Lesotho Highlands Water Project. The tour also included a visit to the almost complete assembly of a 400-meter long and expensive TBM.
Each of these pieces is about 10 million USD, roughly in the range of 200 million local currency.
People of Free State are complaining that water pass by us here, we don't get enough water. But also people on the site here, where the dam is, are not getting water. But we have agreed with the commission that they are going to look at that, the sooner the better, because we cannot have people who don't have water when the dam is right where they are. So in terms of the progress, I can say out of 10, if I was to rate them, I can rate them 8 out of 10. From August to now, they've done very well.
Now about the oversight visit in Phase 2 of the Lesotho Highlands Water Project. We're joined by our correspondent out in Lesotho, that's Rapelang Radebe. Rapelang, thank you so much for your time. So the minister says there will be accountability around that amount that was spent on this project. But talk to us about some of the key highlights that came out of the oversight visit.
Indeed, Mko, and good evening to our viewers. I think she has upped her game. She was here in August, and she promised that she will be coming to Lesotho every quarter to do an inspection and oversight. And I think this arrangement or this engagement helps keep track such that if there are problems or there are foreseeable setbacks that can be realized, they are able to deal with them, because some of the issues come up with like permits that take forever to be completed simply because you need governments from both sides to be able to confirm those. So I think these are things that are able to be picked up. But she has admittedly also said that the progress has been quite significant, with one of the longest bridges, most expensive Senqu Bridge, which is now at 93%. And they are saying in the next, I think the first few weeks of the 2026, the bridge will be open officially. The TBM, one of the most expensive piece of equipment, that will be moving at a pace of about 20 meters per day, is now almost fully assembled, and those are significant developments. It's a complicated, complex piece of equipment that actually sustains the entire project. But he was also not happy about the developments regarding the resettlements of some of the affected communities, and wanted to know what exactly is the problem. But talking to some of the officials, they were saying it is because most of those people will only be affected at a later stage, so therefore no much hurry to complete that job. So they said to them they are within schedule, otherwise they also don't want to just tick boxes and hurry to resettle people only to deal with consequences that are unpleasant later on.
And yes, it is a good news story somewhat in a way, Rapelang, especially when we look at how now there's some sort of movement now. But we also can't have this chat without also reflecting on some of the delays that we've seen, particularly with this project. And subsequently, we also heard that heads will roll around the developments on that front, or a lack of developments on that front. Are we really seeing some accountability, particularly when we look at how the project had earlier stalled? And are we seeing the minister actually living up to that?
Absolutely, because we were privy to talk to some of the high officials who actually divulge some of the mechanisms. One may be reluctant to actually get into the details because they affect some of the huge contractors, but they said they have set out clear consequence management that believe that a company that does not deliver on time will face those kind of complications to an extent that it can actually be kicked out of the project. And they laid out how exactly this will score. There will be some scoring point mechanism, and those who fall behind or fall short, even after certain interventions and notices, will actually face the music. So I saw the minister actually nodding, understanding that we just need to do more follow-up such that those decisions are enacted and actually followed up thoroughly.
And Rapelang, just looking at a project of this magnitude unfold, so much has been said about this project. I want you to really give us a picture of what this means for everybody, seeing that we've been facing so many water challenges, particularly in the country, but also in the broader sense as to what this actually means for us now that we're seeing some developments around this project.
You're absolutely right. A simple example is that for every cup, every glass of water that you drink, 30% of that consists of water that comes from Lesotho. And the delays like this ones are actually impacting on the future prospects and planning. There's also a concern that the leaks that happen, especially around Gauteng, are the ones also to be worried. And she said there are measures in place that will actually deal with the municipalities that keep losing this precious, because Gauteng is a water scarce resources. But also worrying is that for every delay, the escalation is just phenomenal. I mean, from the delay of COVID, from the unpredictable weather forecasts, operating machines like the equipment, sometimes they have to close huge portions. This ultimately lends into escalation beyond imagine. But she said we can understand some of these things are actually thought in advance, but what they cannot tolerate is man-made mistakes that could have been avoided. Those are the costly ones because the cost is irrecoverable. But also, I think one of the sad news is that she has hinted that out of the proposed 5 phases, this will probably be the last phase. That means phase 3 might not take place. But however, she said she still needs to do consultation. She's saying there are other alternatives that are being explored. There are countries that are also willing to put a proposal to sell water or to give water to South Africa. And that means if this comes to an end, the consequences of the economic adjustments that Lesotho would have to go through are quite huge and substantial.
And as this project continues, what are some of the key milestones that we should be looking out for, and just what timelines will those be delivered around?
You are right. It's a huge project for Lesotho. When you talk about tourism, it's starting to pick up. The road infrastructure that has been laid makes it accessible just for extra additional income for both countries. This project is expected to end late 2029, the latest early 2028, and the earliest 2029. This is where it said, she said she's not taking any further extensions. She doesn't want an excuse. She wants that project concluded around about the earliest 2029. And we will understand next week, this project will be celebrating 40 years. That means, according to the treaty, only 10 years remains. And the question is now the difficult answers. What form, what shape will the Highlands Water Project now take as the official treaty that was 50-year-old comes to an end? We know as long as there's still a need for water in South Africa, the royalties will still come through for foreseeable future. But as to whether South Africans have enough water secured for the growing populations, for the growing economy of the biggest province, which is Gauteng, which is really the biggest economic hub in Africa, how that will influence the future development on securing water in South Africa.
And we certainly will be relying on you, Rapelang, to keep eyes and give us an update on what shape or form that will all take. In the meantime, thank you so much for that update. That's our correspondent out in Lesotho, Rapelang Radebe, talking to us there about the Lesotho Highlands Water Project there. Thank you so much indeed.